Hello. In this video I'd like to share with you a little bit about our holistic approach in Deep Transformational Coaching. In our work with clients we like to have a holistic approach that takes into account the different levels of the person, the behaviour, the inner thoughts, feelings, values, and also the sense of the whole person and their relation to their own being and the being of life itself. Not only do we have a holistic approach in Deep Transformational Coaching, our training is also structured in a holistic way and giving the students of Deep Transformational Coaching a very clear map of how coaching unfolds and how the training process will lead them to mastery through handling these different levels of change, learning and growth. So in this video we'll first of all look at the different levels or orders of transformation, and then we'll look at the Deep Transformational Coaching matrix. I hope you enjoy it.
So this is a short description of our pathway to coach development with the coach development matrix. You could say that in Deep Transformational Coaching we're supporting three orders of transformation. The first order has to do with simple behavioural change, which is involving how we use our attention, how we set intention, what our outcome is, and the quality with which we approach it. Now, what happens very often is that when we want to change something in our behaviour, there is some interference. And this interference comes from another order of our experience. Particularly from our past learning about life and life experience, which is influencing our attitudes, beliefs and values. So they have an effect on why we shouldn't undertake a particular course of action, and why we might not be able to reach our outcome and thus fulfill ourselves through achievement. At the third order of change or transformation, there's also the context of these attitudes, beliefs and values, which is our own self, our own sense of who we are and how that impacts our attitudes and beliefs, and hence what we are able to undertake and what's interfering. These three orders of transformation are part of how our life unfolds. And in good coaching and in Deep Transformational Coaching, we need to be able to recognize these three orders and to adjust our focus according to the needs of the client. So this is by way of background to the Deep Transformational Coaching matrix, and what I'm going to do next is share with you a little bit the coaching matrix and how it relates to our process of coach development. You could say that the first thing that we need to do in pretty much any coaching process is to come to a well-specified intention for the coaching. We need to clarify exactly what it is that the client is requesting through the coaching as a whole. And that is really the focus of our first session, and it helps us to identify whether the issue at hand has to do with change, learning or growth, with the first order of transformation, the second or the third order, whether it's micro level behavioural change, macro level learning and shifts in beliefs and values, or third order, the meta level of how our sense of self is impacting the whole experience. Now, in our first level of Deep Transformational Coaching training, and that involves our first and second units, we're learning how to create this well-specified intention for the coaching as a whole with the client, to identify the order and the order of change, and we focus in the first and second units also on how you work with micro-level behavioural change, so that in the coaching process, after that first orienting session, if it's something that we feel can be best handled on the level of micro behavioural change, our next step in the second session is to clarify the problem space. And that means that in terms of first order behavioural change, specifying a well-formed intention for the behavioural change, and to make some kind of comparative analysis and comparison of where the client wants to be and where they are now. Then in the third and fourth sessions of our actual coaching with the client, we can work in order to transcend the problem space and make new behavioural options available. So that's really the focus of the first two units of our Deep Transformational Coaching training. Obviously, in the first unit, we're also giving this overview of these three orders of transformation, so coaches in training understand the big picture. Now, in the second level of our basic diploma, in units 3 and 4, we are developing the ability of the coach to work with the attitudes, beliefs and values of the client. And where through the first session with the client, we identify that the client is trying to deal with some issues that connect with their past learning, their old beliefs, their attitudes. We're using what we call the systemic intention, or the chimes model, in order to identify in more detail what it is in the client's map that is helping them to understand the direction that they're heading in, what it will bring them, but also what's interfering, what's blocking them, and what are the underlying causes and influences. That work allows us in the third or fourth sessions to transcend the problem space by updating the old learning, providing new resources, and typically we're doing that through what we call conversational repatterning. And that means in a conversational process we're looking at the patterns, the old thinking, in a way that helps the client to underlie the underlying assumptions and to overcome the old thinking and open the pathway to new learning, new openness to progress to the next steps. Now, during this process, if we need to go back to the micro level of behavioural change, if we need to help make new behavioural options available, we can do that as necessary, but it's not our primary focus. Through these 4 units, we're able to conduct a basic process of coaching, including a final session in which we can review and consolidate the whole process that we've gone through. So this is a basic map of what we're learning and what we're covering in our basic diploma. And it helps to prepare the new coach to be really competent and solid for working with issues to do with behaviour, beliefs and values and so on. Our advanced diploma is developing the ability of the new coach to work at the level of growth, to help the client deal with issues where it seems to be not just about what they want to change in their life or what's interfering, but the whole context of who they are and how that is either supporting or interfering with the work. So from our first session, sometimes we recognize that the client is at a phase of their life where it's not about behavioural change, nor about basic learning, but about the need to develop as a whole person. And then we use the full repatterning process in order to identify, through a process of spiraling, the connecting pattern that's holding both the positive and negative qualities of the client together, and we open up the possibility of updating and renewing that pattern. And again, if necessary, we're going back to work with specific beliefs. We can go back to the behavioural level. So we have the flexibility to draw on everything that we've learned. And the review and consolidation, maybe after 3, 4 or 5 sessions, or maybe after a period of some months and quite a few sessions, in which we've worked within the field of this matrix. Now you may have noticed that behind the matrix is a kind of circle, and in a way this is pointing to the fact that these 3 levels or orders of coaching are all expressions of unfolding in the field of experience of the client. And it's a recognition that that field also includes the coach. And becoming aware of these 3 orders or levels of transformation, how to work with them, helps us to go to another level in which our work is very holistic, in which we are able to work not only with individual clients, but besides taking account of their whole lifetime unfolding, we're also able to work with groups, organizations, and the unfolding of larger systems. So we have a level 4, an advanced program for deep transformational coaching and its implications, working with the process of unfolding in groups and larger systems, so that our work is less and less dominated by the surface issues that the client is bringing, and more upheld, supported, and leading to the unfolding of the whole person for the benefit of themselves and for the benefit of the whole context. And to be able to understand how groups, organizations are working like large complex people in the same way, and how to support transformation at that collective level. So that's a little bit of an overview of where we're heading through this deep transformational coaching. and how the Deep Transformational Coaching matrix can understand and provide a map for our learning and where we are in the process. So it's very, very valuable to have an idea of where we're going, and also to recognise where we've been and how all the complexity that we're learning fits together. And my experience is it's helped me a lot, and with the students that I've taught, it's helped them find their way through the very, very complex process of accompanying others in their change, learning and growth.